greenhouse farming is overtaking open field farming. As you can see, everybody is going to greenhouse farming. Some are taking the wooden greenhouse, like the ones you're seeing behind me. Others are doing the metallic greenhouse. But the difference is the shelf life. There is the metallic greenhouse stays longer as compared to wooden greenhouse. Now, what is happening after such big investment? Farmers are not investing in skills. Farmers are not involving technical advisors. Farmers are not involving agronomists in order for them to succeed in greenhouse farming. So they are doing a big investment. They are doing good investment. They are putting a lot of money in them. But now running the greenhouse becomes a problem. Always learn. Always invest in best inputs. Always involves all expert needed in order to succeed in greenhouse farming. In this greenhouse, everything has been done there. Big investment, good crop has been done, but mistakes were done during planting. In farming, there are so many mistakes that farmers do. There are so many wrong things that happens in the farm. And once you do those mistakes, or once you fail to do something in the right way, you'll end up having such a crop. One, remember, these are big investment. For those who are in greenhouse farming knows that the seeds, greenhouse plant seeds are very expensive. The structure itself is quite expensive, regardless of its nature, be it wooden, be it metallic. These are big investment. But now when it adapts like this is what we call disaster. Because this farmer will get zero returns from here. So there are several things that happen before planting or before establishing this crop. And those are some things I would like to highlight so that you can be able to learn and also be able to avoid them. Because I've always emphasized on learning. I've always emphasized on involving an expert. I've always emphasized on knowing what to use at what time. Now, from learning, one, we have different varieties of crops or of tomatoes. Like in this case, you can see these varieties at some point it's surviving and producing good fruits. On the other hand, the plant is dying. 3/4 of the plant is dying. Just a quarter of this plant, as you can see, that is surviving. Why is it so? There is something that we call tolerance levels or tolerance ability of a plant. And tolerance doesn't mean that the crop won't die if it's tolerant. It means that at a given point, the plant will be able to withstand or it can be able to live with that condition, but it won't die. Because as you can see, just like 2 months after planting, the crop has been able to produce. This is 3 months after planting, not 2. The plant has been able to produce fruits, but now it's dying. That means it tolerated the disease up to this point. To an extent, now it was unable to tolerate again, and the disease overpowered the plant. Now it's dying. It's dying slowly by slowly, and you have fruit. And if you are able to harvest all this fruit, we could have made a difference. But now it's cold when things are worse, when it's too bad, and we cannot be able to save this. We cannot salvage anything out of this. So the solution is we are going to remove everything, treat the soil and start afresh. But that's another cost, because the farmer has already invested a lot of money here. The farmer has already used a lot of resources here. So this is 100% loss. 100% loss. So now selection of varieties. If your soil, your soil can be in this form, you can also bring a resistant variety. We have a root stock that we can use, plant in the greenhouse, then come graft it with this variety, and the root stock is resistant to all these conditions. So you'll be able to grow your tomatoes in a very good way, in not a way that you're not disturbed by anything till you get your harvesting. You get to harvest good fruit. So on that level now, this variety has low tolerance level and is not resistant to this level. Another thing, before you go to greenhouse farming or you go to any kind of farming, you're supposed to do something known as soil analysis. Soil analysis is very key, and this is one of the biggest mistake that was done here. When you do soil analysis or you analyze your soil, you are able to know what is in the soil, how to avoid it or how to treat it before you bring in the plant. If you do blindly, you lose. Some farmers tend to think that soil analysis is very expensive. They cannot afford soil analysis. If you can afford such a structure, if you can afford this expensive seed or seedling, soil analysis is not expensive. Because if you counted the expense of the soil analysis, see now what it has costed. It has costed total loss at the expense of very few cents that you would have used and known whether the soil was good or not. Because this is a problem that is in the soil and a problem that can be easily controlled. From soil analysis, another mistake that was done here was involving an expert. The farmer did farming blindly, came to farming blindly with his own skills, never used any expert, never used an agronomist, and that's where a question comes in. Why do we have these differences? Why is it that we have so many service providers out here? At the same time, the farmers are suffering. I don't know who will answer the question, but I think now we should come together, farmers and service providers, so that we can be able to solve all these problems, so that we can be able to curb such conditions in the future. Because if an expert was involved here from the word go, this would not have happened. So farmers, kindly make sure you get the necessary skills, you analyze your soil, you grow the best plant, and above all, or the bottom line, have an expert. Have an expert who is guiding you on the best planting method, on the best way of handling the crop. Inside here, I know many of you are asking which disease is bothering us here. This is bacterial wilt. For those who don't know bacterial wilt is a disaster, and mostly it's a disease related to tomato family. Tomato and its family is highly affected by the bacterial wilt, and this disease can only be controlled by few things. One, crop rotation, growing any other plant crop or any other plant that is not of tomato family. Another thing, hydroponics, doing soilless farming, something that is not touching the soil. That can be a solution to this problem. Another thing that can be able to solve this thing is bringing in tolerant variety, or bringing in a resistant rootstock in order to control this disease. There is no chemical or there is no product, unless it was invented some few days ago, that have come across that can be able to control this condition 100%. The product that you have in store just suppresses at a certain age, at a certain stage, but with time it's overpowered and the crop is done. So farmers, let's avoid guesswork. Let's do the right thing, because this is business, and if you lose in business, if you lose your investment, if you lose your product, you're not in business. Let's stop handling agriculture like we've been handling it many years ago. It's something that is supposed to sustain us, and it's a business like any other business. Let's handle it professionally. I usually tell farmers, just like a construction project where you're constructing a house, you cannot pay for a project, then you at the same time you go mixing the cement and the sand. You're still working in your own construction site. That never happens. You design, you get a map from an engineer, you give it to another engineer who will do the construction, you bring in manpower and labor, but that does not make you that doesn't deny you ownership of the house. You still own the house, the business is yours. The same should happen to agriculture. You're supposed to bring each and every expert, from the soil analyst to somebody who is handling the crop, to the people who are managing the greenhouse, until you get your good returns. And at the end of it, because you are after fruit, you are after returns, we win. Avoid this as much as you can, because this will destroy you completely. This is a disaster. Until next time, stay tuned to this channel, subscribe so that we can continue learning together. Bye.